You know, in the world of fintech, things move fast. A controversial founder can stage a billion-dollar comeback. A simple weekend project can suddenly challenge a massive bank. And the real fight, it isn't just for your money anymore, it's for your social feed. And here's the thing, these aren't just random separate stories. They're actually three powerful forces that are defining the future of finance right now. So let's connect the dots. It totally sounds like the setup for a really niche tech joke, doesn't it? But for real, what on earth could possibly connect these three seemingly random things in the fintech universe?
Well, the answer is that each one perfectly pulls back the curtain on an invisible force that's shaking things up. And by the end of this, I promise, you're going to see exactly how they all link together to define what's next for finance.
Okay, so our first story is all about the comeback. It's a tale as old as time, right? But in the high-stakes, high-drama world of fintech, it plays out a little differently. Let's take a look at the case of Mike Cagney and his new company, FIGR.
This is the kind of number that makes Wall Street snap to attention. FIGR Technologies recently pulled off a nearly $800 million IPO. Now, this isn't just some successful launch. For its founder, this is a massive statement.
To really get why that IPO is such a big deal, you have to see this timeline. Back in 2017, Mike Cagney's career looked like it was completely over after he left SoFi surrounded by allegations of a toxic work culture. I mean, that's usually a death sentence in this industry. But then, just 1 year later, he founds FIGR, and today it's a profitable public company. So, how did that happen?
Well, FIGR's promise wasn't just, hey, we're another lender. No, it was to fundamentally fix a process that is just plain broken. By using blockchain, which is basically a super secure digital ledger, they could slash the approval time for a home equity loan from a miserable 42 days all the way down to just 10. For any homeowner, that is an absolute game changer.
Honestly, the best way to think about this is like Robert Downey Jr. after rehab becoming Iron Man. Yeah, you have a controversial past, but all of that gets completely overshadowed when you come back and deliver an absolute blockbuster performance. In fintech, that blockbuster is profit and technology that actually changes the game.
So the big takeaway here is pretty simple. Yeah, culture matters, but the market has a shockingly short memory for founders who can deliver massive profits. In this world, redemption isn't just earned, it's literally bought with growth.
Okay, so a powerful founder can absolutely get a second act. But what about everyone else? And that brings us to our second huge force, the democratization of the tools themselves. We're shifting from the story of one single CEO to a story about access for everybody.
Just look at this contrast. A few years ago, if you wanted to build a financial app, you were basically begging your engineers for back-end resources, all that complicated, invisible plumbing that makes software actually work. Now, thanks to a brilliant partnership between Plaid and Replit, a working prototype is literally just a browser tab away.
I absolutely love this analogy. Think of it like this. Plaid is the cool kid. It's that essential bit of code that connects almost every app to your bank account. And Replit is the DJ. This super cool, easy-to-use platform that lets anyone code right there in their browser. So when they team up, suddenly everyone wants to be at their party. It makes building things fun, fast, and open to all. And this is exactly why this is such a big deal. When you lower the barrier to entry this much, you just unleash this massive wave of creativity. The next billion-dollar idea in finance, it might not come from a huge bank, but from a product manager or some indie developer just messing around on a weekend.
All right, so the tools are now in everybody's hands, which means 1,000 new ideas can just pop up overnight. But that creates a whole new problem. If anyone can build your product, how do you defend it? The answer is our third force, the social moat. And let me tell you, no one learned this lesson the hard way quite like Robinhood.
Think about Robinhood's journey like this. They built the perfect nightclub, right? A slick, super easy-to-use trading app. And the meme stock craze? That was the biggest party in town. The only problem was the DJ, the music, the entire vibe, all of that was happening somewhere else, over on Reddit and Twitter.
Here's kind of how it all went down. First, the meme stock conversation just explodes on social media. That drives millions of new users to their app. Robinhood basically became the default location for a cultural moment it had zero control over. And by the time they finally launched their own social features, years later, they weren't leading the party, they were just scrambling to catch up to it. And this reveals a whole new rule for finance today. Just providing the tool is not enough.
You have to own the conversation. That community, that constant social buzz around your product, that becomes your real competitive advantage. It's the moat that keeps your customers from swimming over to the next new shiny app.
So we've looked at 3 pretty different stories. A comeback, a game-changing partnership, and a social feature that was just too late. What do they tell us when we stitch them all together? Let's just run through the recap stack really quick. First, performance can buy you forgiveness. If you build something incredibly profitable, the market seems willing to forget the past. Second, the tools you need to build the next big thing are now basically in everyone's hands. And third, once you've built it, the community you build around it is your single most valuable asset. And that leaves us with this final thought. We have just seen the new rules of the game laid out right in front of us. A founder can get a second chance, anyone can build an idea, and community is the ultimate defense. So, the only question left is, with all these forces in play, who's out there, right now, building what's next?